All right, so welcome back. We're going to be starting lesson 13, and this is going to deal with subtracting fractions. Before break, we had done a lot of adding fractions. So, a lot of what we're doing here is going to be very similar to what we've done before with adding fractions, mainly finding a common denominator. That's going to be a theme of this one. And again, because this is the first session of this lesson, this will be a pretty short one. So for our warm up, we're given two fractions and it wants us to create some equivalent fractions. So remember, with equivalent fractions, you've got to, whatever you multiply the bottom by, you have to multiply it by the top. So for example, we have 3/4 here. We multiply both by 2. That gives us an equivalent fraction of 6/8. Down here, if we do top and bottom by 3, that'll give us 9/12. And remember, equivalent fractions are fractions that are equal to each other. Because if you look at this, you know that all of these fractions on the right, like the 6/8 and the 9/12, these two can be reduced down to this 3/4. So they all are the same value, but they are considered what we call equivalent. All right, so open up your books to page 249. And to start this one off, you've got a scenario where we've got someone who's like at a hardware store and he's got to use fractions here to figure out what parts he needs. So, a lot of you that will be building things in your careers or just as a hobby or just doing some repairs will need to use fractions to find the right size parts for your stuff. All right, so he has a 3/4 inch long bolt. He buys a bolt that's 1/8 inch longer and a bolt that's 1/8 inch shorter than the 3/4 inch bolt. What are the lengths of the two bolts he buys? Well, the way we can do this is we look at this 3/4, and we've got 1/8 longer and 1/8 shorter. So if you look at the denominators, the bottom numbers here, they're different. So we have to make them the same. The easiest way to do that is to change 3/4 into 6/8. Again, our warm-ups usually are related right to the next question. So I double the top and the bottom to get that. Now, I need one that is 1/8 longer. So 6/8 plus 1/8 equals 7/8. And we need one that's 1/8 shorter. Subtract 1/8, and that gives me 5/8. So the lengths of the two bolts he buys are 7/8 inches and 5/8 inches. Those are the two that he bought. Kind of an interesting way to review adding fractions and also introducing subtraction. All right, explain how to find the lengths of the two bolts that Paul buys. Well, that's pretty simple. Um, we need a common denominator, which in this case was the 8. And underneath there, then we add and subtract 1/8. Make that 8 a little better. Simple as that. Question 2, just like with adding fractions, you must find a common denominator to subtract fractions with unlike denominators like 3/4 and 1/3, for example. Easy way to do that, again, is take your bottom numbers, the denominators, and multiply them together. And that'll always give you at least one of the common denominators you can make for those fractions. But down here, we do multiples. Multiple of 4. So basically, 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Times 3 is 12. Times 4 is 16. 3 times 1 is 3. Times 2 is 6. Times 3 is 9. Times 4 is 12. And you can see right there, our common denominator here is the multiple of 12. Down here, complete the models and equations to show equivalent fractions for 3/4 and 1/3. What they mean is this. So now we have our 3/4 right here. We got 1, 2, 3 of those are filled in. So we have to fill in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and these will match up. So 3/4 is the same as 9/12. We have 1 over here because that's 1/3. And we want to stop right at this point. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4/12. So then we pop these down here. 9/12 minus 4/12 is 5/12. And that's a common way you'll be doing it on your homework for today. And lastly, how subtracting fractions like adding fractions. Um, let's keep it real simple. The denominators, and just again, a reminder, I say this so much, you're probably sick of me saying it, the bottom number. Numbers are the same. Or let's put that a different way. Whoops. I got a little extra here today. Have to be the same. There we go. And that is how you do session 1 for lesson 13. Your homework is not going to be iExcel. It's going to be one of the iReady interactive assignments. I want to start using those a little more. They're great practice, similar to what I did last year. So click on the link for iReady Math. It's in the assignment, and look for this one, subtract fractions with unlike denominators. It's going to take about 15 minutes to do, 15 to 20 minutes. Do the whole thing, and then when it says it's time for the quiz, you can skip that or do it just to kind of quiz yourself. But you're not required to do the quiz part, which is at the very, very end. So get a hold of me with any questions, and I'd love to help you out.